I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
Spending time all alone, sending more songs to the phone, dreaming of a better home. We more focused on trying to hone this craft, witchcraft. I hope the brujas let this last. I don't know if this faded blue.
That was great sounds of Watts with Outside on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, with my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Elm City made, EZ BlueZ is in the building. Let him hear EZ BlueZ. What topic are we talking about today? You're on silent, buddy. Yeah, we can't hear you. We see your picture quality is
all
amazing.
right. Sorry, I'm having a lot of Zoom issues right now.
It's okay. Technology is crazy right now.
3.2 seconds because I think I might have been able to fix everything, which is gonna be great. But right now, we're really seriously talking about what is super important in life, and what is super important in life is this amazing thing called inclusion. When you are included, when you feel included, you feel more connected to the brand, the business, any type of aspect of that. And whether you're including your actual employees in the full scheme and understanding on how your business is supposed to run, whether you're including your, every type of demographic in your actual marketing, whether you're including just that it's okay at your place of business to just be 100% yourself. It is so super, super, super important because, man, the whole world can be as negative as they want to be, and you want to hear tragedy, you want to hear heartbreak. You just got to open up your door, look at a family member. So we all just kind of want to feel included and all that kind of fun stuff. I'd have loved to include like my whole setup and my computer and everything and not be functioning from my phone right now, but the internet said, not really today. Not today, sir.
How'd you feel included when you were part of the State House family?
That was one of the most incredible things, man, because that's really like what it became at the State House. And the State House is the venue that, as people will, as the history is written and more time gets between the loss and where we are now, people will really truly understand that it is the only place that really had that fully all-inclusive aspect of it. Not at any point in time could anyone feel unwanted. And, there was also points in time, at certain times being at the door there, I had the ability to even tell some people, when I worked the Little Easy E show, there was this incredible young woman who had been coming out a lot often to see different events and different things like that. And, she was living her own truth, her own life. And I'm not here to tell her story. But she did come into the show, the store, the venue, and was thinking about coming and seeing Little Easy E, not knowing exactly who Little Easy E was. And I looked around at the demographic there, and I looked at her and I said, look, as much as I'd love to have your company for here, and I think this is dope, I don't necessarily think this is a show you're going to feel 100% comfortable at. And I don't think you should have to pay money to feel uncomfortable. We've got other things that are coming up, and I understand you like how this space feels on you. But this just might not be that moment, And she went about her day, and then she came back, and she was actually an artist then at one of the sanctuaries, and she gave me this incredible. Let's go down there. She gave me this incredible print.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, she just gave, like, when she first walked in to say that she was doing a booth. Oh, by the way, I have something for you too.
Oh Lord. Oh, Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah, your Girl Scout. They came in fine.
Okay,
they're
cool.
Here. They're good. But I had to show that to you. Sorry.
A little off transition, but
yeah, go well, ADD moment, and like I put them on top of the Girl Scout cookies. I was like, "Is this in camera?" I didn't want you to think I was holding your Girl Scout.
No. It's okay for people who are listening, questioning why is he talking about cookies. Easy's daughter is a Girl Scout, And
No, she's not. She just knows Girl
not,
Scouts.
no, oh, so she's the plug. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, she all right. That's all really bad on there, but she is a connection
Yeah.
to Girl Scout cookies. It gave me one of my favorite brands, the Samoas. I don't care what anyone says. But anyway,
Yeah.
go right ahead, Easy, and continue your great.
So, you know, she showed up to set up the stuff and everything. She's like, oh yeah, feel free, you can have whatever print you want because you've always been awesome. I was like, all right, that's cool. And I like if I'm gonna go and get a print from somebody or anything like that, no matter who I'm gonna throw money down. You know what I mean? Because that's just the way that it goes. And it was a sanctuary night, so it was oh boy, what is going on today?
A lot of stuff is going on, but we're happy that you're with us on here on WNHHLP 103.5
Oh,
FM
smooth.
New Haven. Easy, you're with us right now. Tell them about the great stories of the Stay House and what an era you guys had. It was such a great time being there. Carlos, Mike, a whole bunch of great people working at that place, man. What were some of your favorite memories?
Memories being
actually favorite show. There's probably too many. You being a musician, favorite shows, probably a whole bunch of favorite bands you saw, local bands you got introduced to. So many connections you made just as a musician and as a creator. Go right ahead, man. Talk to me. Tell me everything.
All right, word. Well, one of the most incredible moments, really, and what I absolutely was. It was a single week at the State House, where there was klezmer music night, which is all traditional Yiddish music. So you're talking about, you've got an accordion up there, you've got like all these incredible string instruments and, flauts and all this wonderful things. And then the next night you had a punk rock drag night. And then 2 days later you had Steve Rogers like CD release party. So that was the vibe of of what you were going to see there on every week basis of all this different parts of history and different parts of art unto itself, whether it be doing the puppet show with Skewered and Pinned, which is absolutely amazing when you have the opportunity to go check that out. A little bit more adult themed. I will say another really crazy, amazing moment from there. And whatever, it'll get sad for a hot minute and then it'll come back to be happy. So the day that we had my brother's memorial, my boy, my awesome boy, love him to death, big man, Mike, you talk to him on our other Facebook page, from Face to Heal. If you like your wrestling stuff, talk to me. I'm from Face to Heal. But so Big Mike, big dude, and he's like a millennial boomer sometimes, because there's a lot of conservativeness that rolls in his body, but he's very open-minded about things and can have discussions about it, and he's willing to grow and change. That's beautiful. So I had to leave my brother's memorial thing to get to do the door for the Skewered and Pin thing, because that's how I dealt with trauma. Is I wrap myself with as much busyness as possible, so I don't have to think about it. I think I would have recorded 19 shows that week if you gave me the opportunity. So, and Mike's like, "Oh, yo, man, I'll come down and I'll come hang out." I was like, "Oh yeah, dude, it's a puppet show. It's an adult puppet show." He's like, "Yeah, it's cool. I'll come down and I'll, do the puppet show." And the first act is Anatar, and they're this incredible artist, like absolutely amazing puppeteer. Mind is just next level. They actually put on the shows, and really, help support, that art scene that is growing. And yes, there's an incredible puppet art scene that is growing out there, and I love it all to death. And they're up there and they got this one puppet and they're kind of doing like a puppet burlesque thing. And I'm watching Mike just start to sweat, just start to feel really uncomfortable. And that to me is the most beautiful thing about art. Art is supposed to make you feel just a little uncomfortable. It's supposed to take you just outside of that comfort zone. And that's forever what the State House will be for me. And because of reconnecting that part of my soul, I learned two different things. One, I will have a venue within the next 5 years. You will all become an Easy Barnums in the next 5 years. We've already coined it. I'm already looking at signage. You know, and the
You
other
got to
thing,
trademark it though. You got to trademark it.
I'm on it. I'm on
You don't
it.
want it. You want anyone to steal your idea right
No,
now. Somebody may listen, take the name, and you want to just prevent a lawsuit right now. So any trademark, you just want to take easy.
yeah, that makes sense. But also, those who would try to steal it know me. Good luck.
This is so true. This is definitely
We
so
just
true.
gonna sip that coffee over here real quick, and I'm gonna put it back there.
And for the people who don't want to try you, tell me about a time that you did not feel included, where you feel you had to get away to find your true self.
Well, that was
Was
the funniest
was
thing.
it Long Island?
Yeah, it was really coming back. Like the music again, music business and all that kind of stuff. Hunter S.
Yeah.
Thompson, my hero. I've got the Gonzo fist tattooed on my chest. But he says, the music industry is full of fakes, phonies, liars, cheats, pimps, prostitutes, and johns. And there's a downside too. It's a dark, it's a dark industry. And music had kind of like, trying to do music professionally, really broke me for a hot minute.
Right.
And it broke me so hard that I joined the army. I joined the army to get away from music. And then I wound up playing music in the army and really falling back in love with the actual performance aspect, because it was no longer about trying to perform for a paycheck. When I got to play music for some soldiers that were in the smoke pit and hadn't seen home in months, and you play that one song that reminds them of home, dude, that is the biggest reward ever. And I was like, oh my god, this is who I'm supposed to be. That's dope. And every once in a while, still, like, I still have some of the sergeants who are now soldiers, some of the soldiers that are now sergeants, checking up on me and making sure that I'm still doing music. And then they're like, hey, if you're not doing music right now, you better be pushing. I'm like, bruh, I DD 214, homie. DD 214. I got that blanket. I got that shield. Yet I'm still doing push-ups because I'm dumb. But yeah, it's fun. And that's the other thing is and then leaving the army and seeing the different side of the world. Again, growing up on Long Island and whatever. You have this ability. You only get to see the people that are living your type of story. Okay. And that's really what it comes down to. Everyone in those things live a similar type of story with just a slight different version that makes it, original or unoriginal. And I'm not pouring salt on that. That's how we were raised. That's how you were grown. But when you step out into a more global world and see that there are a lot more stories that can be told and a lot more stories that need to be included, because there's a whole bunch of people who look like me that are on Long Island. Dude, we went out there for the vet stock thing. You felt weird. You know what I mean? Like, let's be real, and that's fine. So, and then doing what I do, whether it be musically or even like this, like what we're doing here on the radio, or what I do with like Easy Town Radio, or now on the Bunny Bus, just being myself. There's not really a place for me out there. There's a place for me if I want to like be a gas station attendant, or there's a place for me if I want to, conform into some sort of suburban daydream. But to be 100% an artist, and to be a creative, and to live as out loud as I need to live. Like, this isn't it. Like, this, I don't do this because I want to. Like, I am this fool because I need to be this fool, and I understand that the world needs fools out there, and I'm just happy enough that every once in a while people look at me and be like, "Good job, fool, good job." And it works.
Good job, fool, on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, and our foolish one, EZ BlueZ, is in the building. Are you thankful for all those times, for it to build your whole character and for you to become the human being that you're meant to be?
I mean, it's so funny because I talk about this, and I talk about this in the upcoming book that I'm going to write, and the name of the book is called "Really," word we can't say on air. Really, the easy story.
Okay.
Right. So where
Continue.
That's the perfect title for the book, ain't it? You've lived some of those moments, bro.
And only you can get the book to find out which moments I lived.
There you go. Oh, we're on our DX merchandising thing going on right now, and you can check out these wonderful hats on virtual merch booth / behind the brand. But no, there's there's I look at like even the trauma like can give you superpowers. And that's something like I talk with my therapist about all the time. And like now that I've become a little bit softer and a little bit more vulnerable, I get mad at her. I'm like, hey, you stole my superpower. I want it back. I can feel things right now, and I don't like it. And they're like, oh, that's adorable. I'm like, I'm not kidding. Like, I want my superpowers back. Like, take your green kryptonite and walk over there. I need to, but it's also a lot freer. Like, it can help build your character. If I didn't have those certain losses at that certain point of time, if you don't take those L's, and the first couple L's you take, man, you can't take them with grace. Like, there's just no way. Because no matter what, L's suck. L's suck. And if it's something honestly that you've worked if something you worked your butt off, you pour your heart and your soul into it, L's suck. And there was that amazing social experiment where they lined up a whole bunch of kids on the goal line of one football stadium and asked a whole bunch of questions just about like the positive things on like how certain, the stereotypical, what they say is the American dream, the 2.5 kids, the 2-parent household and all that kind of stuff. And they say, this is what, before you start, these are all those things. And if you check off those boxes, you're able to move a couple yards ahead. And those, then there's a lot of people who are still starting at that, at that 0 goal line, while other people are starting at the 50-yard line. And it should be our key. And that's what I love about New Haven. And I'm sure there's going to be people who don't like this next statement that's coming out of my mouth. And I'm sure there's people who I have drank with who are not going to like this statement that's coming out of my mouth. Right. But the cultural equity program that New Haven is running is one of the most beautiful things and one of the most needed things out there. Okay. And if you are aggravated that you're not included because you have been able to be around this stuff and benefit from it for years upon years upon years, if you're going to throw that temper tantrum, and that's what you're doing, you're throwing a temper tantrum, you also maybe have to look at your own art. And maybe you should change it and make it better. And I call it out. I say what I say. People want to have a conversation with me. I'm not hard to find. We can have a conversation. But it's true. And there's no need to harass people. There's no need to scream and yell. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. It's so easy to make enemies, but if we can make friends, it's so much more important. One of the most incredible things too is the last day of the State House, we had the jam. Mm-hmm. And you just watch an entire community come together and rock out. And like, even just walking, like the first couple of people to walk in, you got Miss Flake walking in, you got Babs walking in, you had Karen walking in,
right?
All this incredibleness just there. Plus hanging out with Paul Bryant Hudson and Jake Keys and Grits and all, going up there, being able to do that. It's important because that story is just as important to tell as, so-and-so's new band that got together or the reunion band that got together after, 10, 15 years of not playing that used to play in the old Broodies. But now they're back together and playing Ward 9. And that's dope, man. More power to them. But let's also talk about what happened at the jam or what can continue to happen at the jam. And where's the next jam going to be?
Who performed at the jam? Grits, Hudson, who are the people?
Trey Moore.
Okay.
Jesse Grizz, Finn Wiggins Henry.
Okay.
D, who's awesome. Me. I did, yeah. I challenged D when they walked in, and I was like, "Oh, you're gonna go up there and sing?" And they're like, "Yo, why aren't you going up there and sing?" It's like, I'm working. I was like, but if you go up there, I was like, I'll sign up if you sign up. So she went, and like I just finished up the door.
Right.
And she started singing, and I was like, damn it, now I gotta go up there. So but also it's also incredible because they allow me to be in my weird, because I'm also not going to go up there and here we are, we got this incredible gospel soul band going up there, and I'm not going to sit there and try to like do a Luther Vandross song. I mean, like I'm gonna I did a real big Fish song over some crazy soul that was going on in the background, and I got to scream and yell and jump up and down, and we went to church for like half a minute. But the most incredible part of that night was to actually be brought to church by Stout.
Oh, nice.
Who will be on this show at some point in time. Okay. But Stout did this ridiculous rendition of Smells Like Teen Spirit, the Nirvana song, and brought everybody to church. The Holy Ghost came down and drop kicked someone in the chest. It was amazing.
Oh, Lord.
Yes, there was Lord. It wasn't Lord. It was Lord. It was, oh, Lord. There were a lot of Lord going on there. And the Lord was good, and Satan is alive.
How's Trey Moore?
Trey's always good. Trey's always solid. He was actually spinning a little bit too, which is great. I love when he does his DJ stuff, because it's so much more all encompassing, because he also live streams the DJ stuff and has that personality aspect of it. So, he's a lot of fun, and he's always great. He's got this Seeing Sounds Fest coming up, I think either this month or next month. You want to definitely go to Edgewood Skate Park, check out some incredible musicians. I know Amar will be playing. He's awesome. We actually had the opportunity to play with him at the State House last year. Fun times. Also, our boy, formerly known as Retro Solo. You work with him. You were his boss, which is crazy. You're like, yo, I'm calling you, but it is not to deal with the corporate aspect of it. You want to come on a radio show?
Little guy.
Homie.
Miguel. Yeah.
His band is playing there too. Definitely want to check out the Seeing Sounds Fest. There's a lot of really cool things going through. As much people want to knock the Arts and Ideas Festival, there's a rumor Babyface is supposed to play the freaking Green this year.
That's gonna be big.
You know what I mean? Like,
that will be big.
Who doesn't want that? How can you be mad? I can't be mad.
How is New Haven been a better place for your children?
It's been incredible, and to the point of one, being as culturally diverse as possible. Two, the protection aspect of it, because we didn't like move here and like hide in our house. I became an active part of the community. Me and the little two especially have been walking through this neighborhood for the past 9 years, to the point where to this day I'll walk with the two of them, and some of the older neighbors are like, I remembers when they was this big. And I was like, yeah, I totally, like, that's dope. And like, you're such a good dad. I was like, that's awesome. I appreciate that. And at one point, we were walking, and some people started to kind of get loud with us, whatever. And an old lady walked out of things like, you need to shut your mouths. You need to shut your mouths right now. You wish you had a daddy as good as he is. All right. So everyone just go about your day. I was like, I was just trying to get a soda. But I appreciate you. Like, it's good. But yeah, and also the education aspect of it. They're finishing up Betsy Ross. They're going on to co-op next year. And we already went for the first aspect of co-op. Got to see the school, got to talk with some of their teachers. The fact that, my youngest in particular is going to start off his day with an hour and a half of music and band every day, 5 days a week. That's dope. Like, word, you're having a bad morning, here, hit this drum and just do you. And then he's also excited because the music elective, they'll have the opportunity for recording and audio engineer, which he's already kind of done some stuff with.
Right.
Yeah. So he's really interested about that. So that's cool. So expect within the next 2 years, hearing, yo, Uncle P, you got anybody that needs some studio time? I got good rates, $60 an hour. I'll give you 10.
Hey, man, maybe it'll go up in price and know its value. You never know.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying when he first starts. I'm saying the first year.
This is so true.
Yeah, and that's always you get a free taste, and then it's $79.99 each additional minute.
But it's great they offer those services for kids, especially just like learn music for like the first hour and a half, because I think those are usually the times where you're not really that concentrated into really what you want to do. Especially it'll really suck. I mean, I remember those high school mornings starting off with math or science, and your brain's just fried because you're just getting up, and you probably had some crappy breakfast, so your body is not even there until about like what 9:30, 10, if that. So it's a great way to start the morning, get the blood flowing. So shout out to them for that.
Really. Word. And you want to know something? I'd like to applaud you as well, because the things, because all the things you said that were the negatives for school were just like the natural negative things. Like, forget the fact that I was probably still hungover, or I might have been altered and not able to function within the first 2 periods. I woke up at like third period. But I was also working a full-time job and, doing a whole bunch of other things as well, and having to make money. But yeah, and that's one of the coolest things too, because like even with my oldest, she's at Eli Whitney, but it's just like so cool when I'm just like, yo, go out and go like explore. Like, you don't, because growing up the way I grew up, high school, I was also the one that was staying at the house to make sure like my mom could go to college through the night, when she was working during the day. So there was stuff that like I, gave up, and it's great that they don't have to, like, none of them, and that has everything to do with out here. Now they're also coming at the age, and to know how loving this city really is, and the younger two are realizing this now. There's nowhere in this city that they can go that I won't find out. You know what I mean? Like, this is a big, small city, and being who I am, a lot of people know me. When we went to co-op for the first part of orientation, there's Paul Brian Hudson giving us a big hug, and both the boys were like, "Oh man," they're like, "You have spies everywhere." It's like, dude, I have spies everywhere. It's like, Crow has all this freedom to go do what she needs to do, but that's because if, someone sees something out of whack with them while they're walking, downtown, I'll get a call. You know what I mean? Or they'll see me later on in the day and be like, yo, just so you know, I saw this, this, and this. And then I go and I handle that. It's a beautiful thing. But that's what happens when you are willing to immerse yourself in the community around you. When you're willing to live a life of full inclusion. The only people who are not allowed in my life are the people who have decided to walk away. That's it. I don't care. I don't care what your genetic makeup is. I don't care how you identify. I just want you to be the best human being you can be. It is one of the most glorious things to do that. And that comes from some of the times where I was behind a pulpit, and that comes from the times where I was in the punk rock pit. You know what I mean? Like, it's so super, 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 super important. And I'll get on a slight tangent real quick, but for all those that are using Christianity to dislike a group of people, I will say this. The first real time I ever really truly understood and saw what unconditional love is or could do was watching an episode of Queer Eye. Because on an episode of Queer Eye, you saw somebody who was struggling in life being surrounded for 2 weeks by unconditional love and acceptance. And you watch their life change for the better. And that is the purest example of Christ's love. And that is what your religion is supposed to be based on. Anything else that it is not, unfortunately, you're based on a lie. You need some healing, and we've got you.
Now, when you talk about that, let's go back to Crow. Does that go along the lines with her transition, her story, her journey, your oldest? Because she made a decision for herself. She made a decision of her joy and her path of life with her transition. Did that go? Talk to me about it. I think because what's inside my brain, what I'm about to say.
Yeah, no. And that's the coolest thing is when when the whole journey started off. You know, it started off in those little bits because, you know, very similar to when Miles started speech therapy, and he had so much to work through. When we finally discovered he had a lisp, you know, the speech therapist and I high-fived because there was so much work that needed to get done there. And that's the same thing when you're 100% coming into terms with your truest self. Is you're really only going to see it bits by bits by bits. So like the first part of the conversation was, you know, Dad, I need to talk to you. You know, Dad, you know, I'm you know, I'm gay. This is who I'm interested in, and things like that. And I looked at her, and I was like, that's dope. Just so you know, I love you the same amount when you walk out of this room as I did when you walk into this room. And then, you know, a couple weeks later, it was, you know, Dad, you know, I'm non-binary. I was like, okay, cool. Don't know exactly what that means, but like, let's work on that and let's figure out what's going on. And they were, you know, I identify with the pronouns of they, them. This is what I was like, cool, dope. You're figuring out who you are. Let's go and grow with that. How can I support you the best? You know, and now also, how can I make you a little bit tougher because the rest of the world isn't going to be as accepting as I am. Right. You know, so there's those certain things that you know, and how can I teach you to deal with these people that are going to be coming at you with negativity, but that negativity really has nothing to do with you. It's their own personal hurt, you know, because, and this is going to come off funny, but, you know, that person is lashing out at you because when they were 5 years old and walking around in their mom's heels, their dad lost their mind and beat the heck out of them. And that's the image that's going to hold on to there. And that's that original point of hurt that they're coming from. That's the place where that's the truth of the matter, you know? So I had to, you know, understand that. And then, you know, I want to start going, you know, and after long amounts of therapy, you know, I want to start going through transition. And it was like, okay, cool. You know, we talked with the therapist, talked with the child, you know, and was like, okay, that's awesome. You know, this is everyone's opinion of where it goes. And the fact that she was able to go to the prom. Right. My little sister and her girlfriend took her out and got her hair done. And she wore a white dress with blue undercut and blue undercut and then pink on top of the hair. So she went to the prom as the trans flag. And she was happy. Like I have pictures of her smiling. I have not had pictures of her smiling until she transitioned. She was not happy before. She's happy and she's healing now. And if anyone has a problem with that, I'm not hard to find. I'm not. You know?
Of course, and you're not hard to find because you're with us on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven, myself, Prestige, and my partner in crime, Long Island Raised, Elm City made, EZ BlueZ is in the building. Our topic, inclusion, which I think we're doing pretty well on Behind the Brand. Easy. Amazing stories. But tell me about, but absolutely great, man. Tell me about the future. Tell me about how you yourself can make others feel included, just like where you are, and how do you make other people feel welcome when it comes, you know, just in general, meeting in public, workplace, stay house, or other ventures you're going to do in the future. Talk to me.
One of the top things that I just try to do on an everyday basis is I try to see the person as the individual. You know, because it's what it comes down to. You know what I mean? Right. Like whatever you want to, you know, if you can try to meet somebody just exactly where they stand at that moment. And I'm a big fan of matching energy. You know, it's one of the reasons why the door works so well for me. You know, because like people are like, usually the door guy is so mean. I was like, but why? But why? It makes no sense to me. But but those moments when then I had to be mean,
right,
resounded a lot more because like, oh wow, the super guy that was smiling the whole time just got a really mean look on his face, and I'm not sure if there's life in his eyes. You know, then people start to pay attention. You know, but really just honestly meeting people where they are. It's one of the most important things, and I'm someone who also I love to have as much fun as humanly possible, and I'm going to continue to have as much fun as humanly possible. And I'm all, you know, and I embrace the weird. You know, look, this is a wacky world we live in. And we can either be driven crazy by it or we can embrace it. And I embrace the weird, and sometimes I invoke the weird. Like if you see me at like, I don't know, Aldi's, because they've got some really good deals at Aldi's, you know, see me at Aldi's, I believe in spontaneous dance breaks. You know, if I'm feeling the music in the Aldi's, man, I'm gonna start can. I'm gonna have fun. We're gonna have a moment. You know, and I don't do it because I want people to like be like, oh my gosh, this is great, or like we need to video him so we can go trending. No, I do it because it's fun. You know, but I've also found now that that translates really well in the social media world. You know, when I get to do something massively ridiculous, you know, through like TikTok, and you know, 25,000 people follow it, or you know, go about whatever. It's dope. It's fun. You know, but you all, you know, and even those people in which you disagree with, and there's a lot of people in which I disagree with.
Yeah.
You still have to treat the conversations with grace, and you still have to try to actively engage in the conversation. And there's points times where I'm really good at that. There's points times I'm really bad at that, because you know, at the end of the day, you know, someone cut me off on the way in or something like that. I was, you know, there's just happened to be like some sort of piece of sand in my shoe, and it's just been irritating me the whole day. And I'll lash out because I'm human. We're human. We're flawed by design. We're so flawed. We invented an eraser, and that's what we need to remember. You know, perfection is an ideology that is completely made up. There's no such thing as perfect in humans at all. You know, which is not. You know, and you know, and I'll say it because why not? And there's no such thing as superior.
No such thing as superior.
No, no
All
such
right.
thing as superior.
Break it down. Break it down. Break it down.
At the end of the day, it is, I believe, 0.005% of a difference of genome that makes any one of us any different than the other, if we're really looking at it from the way we are. So just right there, we're all starting off in this aspect. And again, as per where you sit socially, you know, or where your family, you know, has kind of left their legacy, or, you know, and from years upon years upon years of starting off the 50-yard line, there's a lot of people that are a lot further along than they should be. And that's fine. You know, as long as you're doing the right things, and doing the right things is just going out and being happy. As long as your happiness doesn't impede on someone else's happiness, or your happiness isn't based off of making someone else miserable.
Right.
Dope. Now, if your happiness is based off of making someone else miserable, I'll teach you how to be a dom, and you can make a whole lot of money. You know what I mean? Like there are some people who just need to be treated like that, and there's ways we can work on that energy too. You know, but you know, you really have to just meet everyone where they stand, and you have to, no matter what, man. There's no situation in which I will ever be A, massively comfortable, or B, uncomfortable. I'm just in this hyper sense of just being somewhat anxious. I am as nervous, you know, at a gala as I am, you know, singing doo-wop on the corner. You know what I mean? Like, and I do both. You know, and both worlds think I do both really well, and I think I do both okay. You know,
to you it's okay. To another person, it's a gift.
Yeah, So, you know, being the true self is so super important, and accepting it within yourself, and accepting it within other people. One of the most interesting things, and one of the things that I've really learned with the growth of my daughter. One of the biggest things people have to get used to is the projection. Because from the moment a child is born, the moment you hold that child, whether it is your child or not, the moment you hold that child, you have a special bond with that child, and you have now already started to plan out this child's future. And you know what the thing is, you know, their house, you know, you guys are going to live next door to each other, yada yada, all this fantasy that you create. But when that child looks at you and tells you who they are going to be, you have to let go of the person you thought they were going to be, and see the person that they are, and love that person. That's the most important thing.
Agreed. Can't lie on that. What's your version of success? In your own words.
It's not even my own words. I'm gonna steal it from John Lennon. Uh, I'm a musician. That's what I do. I steal. Um, steal like a music. Steal like an artist. It was some of the advice I was given in Philly. Um, John Lennon said it the best. There was a point in time when he was in grade school, and a teacher asked him what he wanted to be when he grew up, and he said happy. And the teacher said, "I don't think you understand the question." And he looked at her and goes, "Oh, I don't think you understood the question." That's it, man. I just want to be happy. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm going to have a venue. Yeah, it's going to be more community based than anything else. I want to be able to have, take all the alcohol out and have an all age open mic once a week. And then once a month, have an all age showcase. Teach these kids at 14, 15 years old how to set up, how to break down, how to network. Teach them how to put up a band camp. Give them the live recordings of their performance so they can start their band camp and start their catalog. So when they're 21 and they want to have that big launch, where are they going to do that? They're going to do it at the venue they grew up in. They're going to do it where they already consider home, where they feel the most love. I want to have a store in there that only sells the merchandise from local and independent bands and artists. During the day, I want to have it open as an art gallery. Also do some yoga there. I'd love to have a tattoo parlor in there as well. We can, have podcasting and radio classes. We can have the brand office like at the top of it. Like, I'm serious, like all inclusive, man, all inclusive. And then we're gonna get weird and grow beards and join a commune.
Commune. Okay. Commune. Okay.
Not
got
commune.
It right. Commune.
Commune. Totally different. Yeah.
Not
Redskin.
Gotcha. Get that.
No. Hippies and free love. Hippies and free love. You'll love it. It'll be
fun. Okay. That's gonna be in the future. But that's a challenge, bro. It's a challenge. It's very challenging running your own place. Especially with kids and the whole 9 yards. But if it's your goal, man, I support you.
And they're young enough, it's just free labor.
I mean, I'm all with paying somebody just a little bit.
Yeah. Room and board.
I'm a little bit different.
Room and board.
I'm paper, cash app, something, anything. I'm against the free labor thing, but that's
I get that.
We can talk about, but nah, that's what's up though. It's a good idea. It's a good idea for the youth. It's a good idea for the community getting stuff done. It's a good idea for people to push their product, to network, just teach them at a very young age, 13, 14, 15, where you have that crazy amount of energy in your body and your brain is just going 10 million miles a minute. So that's pretty much the right direction of where to go. But yeah, I think what all sums up your success, Easy, is just to be happy with who you are. If it's sum up in just all of those sentences you just put me, am I right?
Yeah, no, that's what it comes down to. Is it's finding that eternal happiness, that eternal peace. It's so interesting because as pop culture is such like a point in my life, right? I always go back to that absolutely ridiculous movie Showdown in Little Tokyo with Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee. And they're sitting in the car, and Brandon Lee is, they become partners in this stupid, buddy cop movie.
Right.
And Brandon, he realizes Brandon Lee knows martial arts, and like, well, I'm half Chinese, so my mom wanted me to learn a little bit about the culture, so I had to choose that, or flower arranging, and who wants to do flower arranging? And he looks at Dolph Lundgren and he goes, "You did the flower arranging, didn't you?" And Dolph Lundgren says this most incredible thing. He's like, "Well, what I learned was to be a real warrior, you have to continue to put out for as much destruction. You also have to have creation. So you cannot be the warrior without the artist." It is that balance. And it is that balance that I strive for, to be in that perfect oneness balance between creation and destruction. And for all those things that I have destroyed or will destroy in this life, I make sure that I'm planting double that to create happiness and beauty.
It's very powerful.
Thank you.
It's very powerful.
Powerful from a C budget movie. You know what I mean?
That's the first time I ever heard someone say something that's C budget. I heard D, I heard B, A, C. That's a new medium. But since time is approaching here on the show, unfortunately, any final words of encouragement for people who don't feel their purpose? And it could be at any age. It could be 13, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, who feel it's either too late or that's it. That's it for them.
Well,
Words are just slipping through my tongue.
like no matter what, the only time you've ever failed at something is when you give up on it, when you just leave it there to die. That's the truest failure. Everything else is just an ebb and a flow, right? But and also, you know, these stupid timelines mean nothing, man. Yo, Stan Lee, you know, broke Spider-Man at 50.
Mm.
So like, what's your excuse? You know what I mean? Like let's be real. Like these people, a lot of people look at Chesky. You know, Chesky's, you know, coming back from a European tour with the Co-Defendants. I'm actually gonna be doing an unboxing of their record and t-shirt in a little bit. Cool. And you know, people are like, oh yeah, he's just blowing up out of nowhere. No, this dude has been grinding for 20 years.
Mm.
So just keep grinding, but don't become complacent with your art.
Right.
You know, if you're like, one of the reasons why you grind a piece of steel is to make it a sharp sword, not just to grind it. So grind, have a purpose, make yourself better, read the Book of Five Rings, read The Art of War, you know, read every single thing you can get your hands on and learn. Don't read Ayn Rand. She can't write and it's stupid. You know, but you know, read Miyamoto Musashi. Trust me on that.
Read more, learn more. Thank you everyone for listening. Myself, Prestige, and my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Elm City made EZ BlueZ. And this has been Behind the Brand on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, New Haven. Appreciate everyone. Thank you so much.
Excellent Celeste. Am I worth anything or just a scout? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
Spending time all alone, sending my songs to